Kemudian ilanan kareta datang dan buka nanti ilanan ta tik mugam ng mayat at tunata siya mata sutago data gana ilanan ng pidwa di akuda.
Good afternoon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Buenas tardes a todos. Greetings to all our viewers on YouTube and Zoom. Before we begin, please keep your audio on mute during the whole duration of the program to avoid distractions. You may opt to turn on or off your cameras as we go on with our virtual tour. To start with this most awaited event, let us hear the words of welcome from our very own Deputy Director General for Museums, Dr. Ana Maria Teresa P. Labrador.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon to our honored guests, Deputy Speaker and Representative Honorable Lauren Legarda, National Commission for Culture and the Arts, OIC Executive Director, Deputy Executive Director Marichu Teliano, Zamboanga City Mayor, Honorable Maria Isabel Climaco, our virtual guests both here and abroad, and the NMP employees from Batanes to Jolo. Today, we are happy to open two new exhibitions at the National Museum Western Southern Mindanao, the Lahul, Landap, Inaul, and Tenun, fabrics of strength and protection among the Bangsamoro people, and of War and Peace, Lantaka and Bells in Search of Foundries in the Philippines. The installation of these exhibitions was made possible through digital coordination among curatorial team members in Manila and Zamboanga. The building of the four in our Fort Pilar facility houses these two exhibitions. On the second floor is the Peace Gallery, featuring lantakas, or traditional Muslim cannons, and bells from the National Ethnographic Collection, and those turned over by the Bureau of Customs. The opposite side will serve as a special space, hosting exhibitions that advocate peace in the region. We have displayed beautiful collections of sambulayang, the festive flags that embellish lantakas during regattas. On the ground floor, we have showcased the diverse yet similar textile traditions of the Maguindanao, Maranao, Sama, Tausug, and Yakan, indicating the inspirations and relationships forged through weaving and exchange. It also highlights the life and works of two Manlilikanang Bayan awardees, Pisyabit weaver the Hata Sawabi from Sulu, and Sipatungan weaver Ambalang Ausalin from Basilan. The development of this gallery is in partnership with the Office of the Deputy Speaker and Representative Lauren Legarda and the Gawad ng Manlilikanang Bayan Committee of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts. As we shifted our attention to our communities, the National Museum of the Philippines prioritized local languages on our exhibition labels and text panels. In this instance, Chavacano and Cebuano are the primary languages, while the Tagalog and English texts may be accessed via QR codes. The online launch of these exhibitions allows our followers to have a maximum experience virtually. We will welcome everyone physically as soon as the local restrictions are lifted. Despite these challenges, we are glad museum activities and programs continue to still pace forward. In closing, let me convey my gratitude to all who support all our online and on-site museum endeavors. Magsukul kaniyo katan. Good afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc Anna, for that warm and very informative welcome message. Indeed, the Bangsamoro people and the Zamboangueños are very happy and proud of this initiative of the National Museum of the Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to witness virtually the main highlight of today's event. But before that, together with us now is the brilliant mind behind the Hibla ng Lahing Filipino and the author of the Philippine Tropical Fabrics Law, mandating the use of indigenous fibers for the official uniforms of government employees and officials to strengthen the local fiber industry of the Philippines. Our honored guest today is the one who helped the National Museum organize the lecture series of the Philippine Traditional Textiles and Indigenous Knowledge, which started last March 2012. Her goals is to enrich the citizens' knowledge of tropical fabrics and weaving culture, and to explore the local technology, adaptation, and innovations of performance in renewing the weaving customs. Her project, Hibla ng Lahing Filipino, aims to gather indigenous peoples, professionals, educators, students, and decision makers to enrich the Filipino weaving tradition. Her initiative to celebrate the indigenous artistry through textiles has provided more Filipinos the opportunity to discover priceless information about our heritage, which brought the challenge of nurturing the weaving traditions into the national and international stage. Let us welcome our honored guest for today, the member of the House of Representatives of the Philippines, representing the Lone District of the province of Antique, Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda, to give her message.
Traditional textiles are ties that bind. They link the past to the present and bring together cultures which, no matter how diverse, have a commonality. It is on this premise that the Hibla ng Lahing Filipino Textile Gallery was born in 2012 in two small rooms of the National Museum of the Philippines. Today, I am filled with pride because from the simple rooms that first housed the Textile Gallery, Hibla, has not only gone regional, it has also gone global. It all started with a vision to have our own textile gallery in the Philippines, inspired by my travels to neighboring countries in Southeast Asia, like Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, each having their own rich weaving heritage showcased in even little museums. I thought, there is so much to show the world about the indigenous artistry of Filipinos through traditional textiles, and I have proven this with the numerous visits I had to weaving communities around the Philippines in the hinterlands. I even go to the remotest barangays, if only to see the most skilled weaver of a town or a province or a rural area. Each weaver has never failed to amaze me. Their diligence, creativity, their passion are truly remarkable. When I met with Director General Jeremy Barnes and Dr. Ana Labrador, I did not think twice and offered my proposal to establish a textile gallery in the Philippines, and the plea did not fall on deaf ears. In 2012, we opened the Hibla ng Lahing Filipino, the artistry of Philippine textiles, at the National Museum, the country's first permanent textile gallery. The exhibition was then housed in two small rooms of the National Museum of Fine Arts, but its impact was immense that even Queen Sofia of Spain could not help but say that it was, and I quote in her own words, the best of the best of the best. The gallery features the raw materials and looms used in weaving, the relevance of textiles in various communities, the different fabrics and the styles of weaving, and various traditional textiles from ethno-linguistic communities, including the oldest existing textile in the Philippines, the Banton cloth. Former Timor-Leste President Jose Ramos Horta, Japan former First Lady Akie Abe, American-British entrepreneur Lady Lynn Forrester de Rothschild, and entrepreneur from Italy, Ermenegildo Zenia, CEO Paolo Zenia, were also among the visitors of the gallery who were very much impressed with the artistry and craftsmanship of our Philippine weavers. A year after its launch, the National Museum found a bigger place to house the gallery. The Hibla Gallery was transferred to the National Museum of Anthropology, and there it now features more textiles and looms and accommodates more visitors. Many weekends ago, pre-pandemic, I would just walk in and observe the visitors from all walks of life. It was truly heartwarming to hear their comments and to know that they find the gallery interesting, and it really enriches their knowledge about our weaving heritage and our culture as a whole. But one gallery is not enough to hold our rich weaving culture. And through the lecture series and the weaving demonstrations on Philippine textiles and indigenous knowledge, we are able to showcase the various weaving techniques of different weaving communities in the Philippines. It is an opportunity for the public to interact with the weavers and appreciate the work and the love they pour into every textile they weave. In 2017, July, the National Museum launched the first Hibla Regional Gallery, the Hibla Iloco, at the National Museum Ilocos Regional Museum Complex in Vigan, Ilocos Sur. In December 2018, the Habol Panay Permanent Textile Gallery was launched at the National Museum Western Visayas Regional Museum in Iloilo City. Today, we are launching another one amid the pandemic, Hibla Bangsamoro. Many more Hibla regional galleries will soon rise, including one in my home province of Antique in Panay. And we hope that someday we will have not only galleries, but one whole Hibla museum, a vision that I know we can bring into fruition. Because once the Hibla Gallery was a vision, but over these years, it has traveled even to London, to Lisbon in Portugal, to Madrid in Spain, to Washington, D.C., New York, San Francisco in the US, and Hawaii as well, to Frankfurt, Germany, to Tokyo, Japan, to Prague, Czech Republic, to Bangkok in Thailand, to Singapore, to Geneva in Switzerland, and even to Buenos Aires in Argentina, among many of our traveling destinations. Today, we launch this exhibition that showcases the arts of the Bangsamoro communities, namely Maranao, Maguindanao, Sama, Tausug, and Yakan. Noteworthy is the fact that Bangsamoro textiles are considered among the most sophisticated textile traditions, with colors depicting different meanings and traits. In this gallery, we also have an area that depicts the life and the works of manlilikha ng bayan Darhata Sarwabi o Parang Sulu, and manlilikha ng bayan Ambalang Ausalin from Lamitan, Basilan. The Hibla Gallery, which has blossomed into many other initiatives, is not only an effort to celebrate the indigenous artistry through textiles and provide more Filipinos the opportunity to discover priceless information about our heritage, but an attempt to bring the challenge of nurturing our weaving traditions into the national stage to an even wider audience. As we open this regional gallery today, I invite you to take yourself to a journey, explore the similarity and the diversity of our traditional textiles, and be fascinated with the traditional skills that gave fruit to such artistic creations. I wish I could be with you live, face to face in Zamboanga, but work brings me elsewhere here in Metro Manila. But I hope to visit you very, very soon. I am forever indebted to the discipline, the work ethic, the passion, the shared advocacy of Director Jeremy Barnes, and of course, Dr. Ana Labrador, for believing in my vision more than a decade ago and bringing all of these into fruition. As we say in Antique, duro gid nga salamat, palangga ko kamo. That means thank you so much. I love all of you and the work that we do. Buenos dias and more power to the National Museum. I am here to support you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker Lauren Legarda, for that very inspiring message. Your passion to promote the Filipino indigenous textiles has finally brought our local weavers and their crafts to the spotlight. And now, the National Museum of the Philippines proudly presents the virtual launch of the exhibition Luhul, Landap, Inaul, and Tenun, Fabrics of Strength and Protection among the Bangsamoro People.
The Filipino Muslims are collectively called Bangsamoro, or a nation of Moro people. Most of them live in the southern part of the Philippines, particularly in the western portion of Mindanao, the Sulu archipelago, and some part in Palawan. They are composed of 13 ethno-linguistic groups such as Meranao, Maguindanao, Iranun, Yakan, Tausug, Sama, Bajau, Jamamapun, Kalagan, Kalibugan, Sangil, Molbog, and Palawanon. Among these groups, the Maranao, the Maguindanao, Sama, Tausug, and Yakan are represented in the exhibition Luhul, Landap, Inaul, and Tenun Fabrics of Strength and Protection among the Bangsamoro people. Bangsamoro resisted Spanish colonization, which is a primary factor in preserving and transmitting their culture, arts, and crafts up to the generation. Their textiles are among the most sophisticated textile tradition in the country. Their traditional clothing is hand-woven cotton and silk, which are both functional and decorative. They use colors to represent their traits: gold, yellow, and orange for royalty, red for bravery and strength, green for peace and tranquility, white for purity, and black is the favored color among the Maranao women for purity and dignity. Yakan of Basilan are known to be among the finest weavers in the Philippines. Tenun is the general term for Yakan woven cloth, and seputangan is the most intricate design worn by the women around their waist or as a headcloth. Ambalang Ausalin or Apu Ambalang from Yakan community in Lamitan was declared Manlilikha ng Bayan in 2016 for her exceptional skills and mastery of the linen or woven Yakan textiles, specializing in seputangan and sinaluan. Luhur or canopy usually hung from the ceiling as house decoration. Pis siabit is a traditional cloth worn as a head covering by the Tausug of Holo. Manlilikha ng bayan, Darhata Sawabi o Parang Sulu was an acknowledged expert in weaving Pis siabit and was conferred the Manlilikha ng Bayan Award in 2004. Her remarkable skill was evident in the evenness of the woven textiles that she made, her faithfulness to traditional design, and in her teaching to the younger generation. Malong Landap is a symbol of royalty and value in the Maranao society. It is a tube skirt silk with decorative woven tapestry langkit. Inaul, a traditional woven cloth of the Mindanao, is made from the pedal loom, on which the weaver first arranges the threads to determine the colors, the quantity, and the length of the malong. Inaul is the Maguindanao word for woven. Bangsamoro communities in the southwestern Philippines experienced displacement from their homes, leaving their livelihood behind and relocating in evacuation centers due to armed conflict between the militant Muslims and the military forces. Their situation led the women to revive their weaving tradition to sustain and feed their families. And Mika Muzarin is one of those displaced individuals from Basilan, continuing the culture and tradition of yakan in Zamboanga City.
Ako po si Mika Muzarin, isa po akong native na yakan. Dito na po ako ipinanganak sa Yakan Village noong 1978. Napunta po dito yung mga parents namin noong nagsimula yung martial law 1972. Yun po, kaya napadpad sila dito kasi dito sila nag-evacuate noon. Noong 7 years old ako, tinuruan na ako ng nanay ko mag-weave. At saka unang-una na itinuro sa akin yung maliliit na yung coaster, maliliit. Yun talaga nagsisimula yung mga kabataan noon sa mga maliliit na 10 noon, doon talaga. Para sa akin, paghahabi pa rin. Kasi unang-una yung sa paghahabi, malaking tulong talaga sa amin ito, lalong-lalo na sa aming mga yakan. Ito kasi yung pangunahing hanap buhay namin dito sa village na to. At saka yung paghahabi, part na kasi ng tradisyon at kultura namin. Meron na ako isang anak ma'am na babae. Opo, ituturo ko po yun sa kanya at ipapaliwanag ko rin sa kanya kung gaano kahalaga yung pagwiwib. Ayon sa kwento ng mga lola namin, hindi na kasi namin naabutan, mga abaka yung ginagamit nila at saka yung pineapple leaves, yun daw ang ginagamit. Pero sa ngayon, wala na yun. Mga commercial thread na lang yung mga ginagamit namin. Tungkol naman sa mga disenyo namin, walang pagbabago, yung pa rin, pabalik-balik lang yung mga design namin. At sa ngayon, yung wini-weave ko, isa siyang sinaluan textile at saka yung design niya, bire-bire. Ito yung kadalasan na ginagamit sa mga ginagawang mga damit, yakan costume, at ginagawa rin mga face mask ngayon. Malaki talaga yung epekto ng pandemic sa amin, lalong-lalo na sa kagaya namin na yung paghahabi lang talaga yung inaasahan namin na pagkukunan ng hanap buhay. Malaki talaga yung epekto ng pandemic. Hanggang ngayon nga kaunti lang yung mga turista pumunta sa ngayon. At saka kumikita lang kami sa ngayon dahil sa mga online. Kung walang online, wala talaga, walang income. Kasi ma'am, iba na yung kabataan ngayon dahil sa mga gadget ngayon. Iba na kaysa noon. Kaya ngayon dapat yung mga parents, ipaintindi talaga sa kanila yung kahalaga ng pagwiwib. Dahil din sa pagwiwib namin, kaya kami nabubuhay ngayon at may mga income dahil sa pagwiwib. Dapat yun talaga, ipaintindi talaga sa kanila na mahalaga talaga yung pagwiwib dahil parte na yun ng kultura at tradisyon namin yung paghahabi. Yung pagkawin, ma'am, dapat yung sa pagkawin, gamit pa rin namin yung yakan traditional costume namin kasi halos ngayon wala na iba na ngayon nakikiuso na kasi yung mga kabataan. Dapat yun, hindi pa rin mawala.
The mannequin showcasing the Maranao-inspired costume of Deputy Speaker Loren Legarda is one of the best examples of Bangsamoro textile. The weavers and embroiderers aim to reintroduce their weaving tradition despite the challenges they encounter. For them, weaving plays a vital role in their culture and daily life.
The National Living Treasures Award, alternatively known as Gawad sa Manlilikha ng Bayan, is conferred to a person or group of artists recognized by the Philippine government for their contributions to the country's intangible cultural heritage. It is fascinating to know that despite modern times, there are still indigenous artists who remain true to their traditions. As Filipinos, we must step up to preserve our culture and identity to ensure that our generation will never lose track of our origin. Filipinos are born to be very creative, and despite the current pandemic, our local artisans are thriving to produce local products, and patronizing and purchasing locally produced crafts will not only help local artisans economically, but will also boost the cultural essence of indigenous arts. And today, we also have our very supportive Zamboanga City Mayor, Honorable Maria Isabel Climaco, to send us her message.
Paz de Dios y abrazo de Nuestra Señora la Virgen del Pilar y San José. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Desde aquí en la ciudad de Zamboanga, muchísimas gracias con el Museo Nacional de Filipinas, Director Jeremy Barnes, Ma'am Ana Labrador y con todos por este di aton mga exhibito que tiene el valor to really treasure the history, her story, and the important treasures that we have in our hand-woven creations as well as the lantakas. We had visited the early part of the exhibit in its making upon the invitation of Director Ana Labrador, and we thank Director Jeremy Barnes for being resilient, believing in the capabilities that we have a role and a mission to play in the history and preservation of important historical treasures that speak of our identity as a Filipino. En calor de gobierno local, bienvenidos y muchas gracias por el contribución in the city of Zamboanga in giving us hope, inspiration para po makapagbalik tanaw po tayo sa ating history. Otra vez, enhorabuena to the team of the Zamboanga City National Museum, Ma'am Fem and the rest. Thank you very much, and we would like to welcome you all to our exhibit. Otra vez, in this time of the pandemic, the National Museum will showcase the best of the best. Thank you, Director Jeremy Barnes. We have really gone a long way from the paletada. You are showcasing what resiliency in the best of the Filipino that we can be. Muchísimas gracias. Enhorabuena. This is Mayor Ben Climaco y vaya con Dios a todos. Tiene cuidado. Muchísimas gracias. Con Dios y Nuestra Señora, la Virgen del Pilar y San Jose.
Muchísimas gracias, Mayor Ben Climaco, por tu suporta na di amon magaprograma. And now, as we celebrate the 2021 Mindanao Week of Peace with the theme Compassion and Justice, Resilience and Healing for All, we present to you the Peace Gallery of the National Museum of the Philippines entitled Of War and Peace, Lantaka and Bells in Search of Foundries in the Philippines.
Of War and Peace, Lantaka and Bells in Search of Foundries in the Philippines exhibition is inspired by the two-volume book of the same title authored by William Alain Miele, Debord, Feby Mangahas, and Regalado Trota Jose, published by the University of Santo Tomas in 2013. First installed at the National Museum of Anthropology in Manila from 2014 to 2021, it featured the Lantaka collection of W.A. Miele, Debord, and the National Ethnographic Collection. The Lantakas, or traditional Muslim canons, and a church bell demonstrated their historical relationship and transformation in relation to socio-political conditions, as well as the technology for shaping their form and function. Lantakas are small brass cannons that were mounted on forts as a defense of local territories during the Spanish colonization. The lantaka, however, was still used as a weapon by Filipino revolutionaries against the Spaniards in the Battle of Kawit and Bacoor in Cavite at the end of the 19th century. At present, lantakas are mostly found in museums and private collections as objects of historical and social prestige. In the Philippines, particularly in southwestern Mindanao, as well as in Malaysia and Indonesia, lantakas are still fired during special occasions and bestowed to prestigious individuals as a symbol of their title and social status. In Mindanao and Brunei, the rank of sultans is also determined by the number of lantaka they possess. Lantaka, also referred to as Laila and Miriam among the Maranao of southwestern Mindanao, Bedil in Brunei, and Lela in Malaysia and Indonesia, is described from the most posterior part to the most anterior part. It has 5 major sections: cascabel, bridge, reinforce, chase, and muzzle. The cascabel is tubular with an astragal and neck, and it is where wooden handles can be attached. The bridge contains the explosive charge, and its widest part is the ring or astragal. The vent patch, vent lug, and rear sight are parts of the reinforce. At the end of the reinforce are the trunnions that are fixed into the sockets of the forked swivel mount. The chase or the barrel is located between the reinforce and muzzle. The muzzle, the most anterior portion, has astragals and fillets, neck, head, swell, front sight, behind the swell, and a flat face. The lantakas are also embellished with flora, fauna, and geometric designs. Among the Maranao, these are generally referred to as ochre motifs, which also adorn their textiles, musical instruments, betel nut and tobacco containers, royal house, and other material cultures. Bamboo shoots, a symbol of fertility and vitality, and lotus petals of Hindu-Buddhist elements are the common floral designs, while dragons, snakes, crocodiles, elephants, birds, and dolphins are the documented zoomorphic designs.
Indeed, not all lantakas were used as weapons. Some were made and used as signaling devices to mark events or warn against impending threats. Others, particularly those with ornate decorations, were used as medium of exchanges or markers of distinctions. As much as you were excited to visit our exhibitions physically, we are more eager to have you here as our guests. As we approach the end of this activity, may we take this opportunity to gratify the people behind the success of this program. So to formally convey our gratitude, may we have our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Dionisio O. Pangilinan.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon to our honored guests, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Loren Legarda, National Commission for Culture and the Arts, Officer in Charge and Deputy Executive Director Marichu G. Peliano, Zamboanga City Mayor Honorable Maria Isabel Climaco, our virtual guests from all over the country and elsewhere, and the National Museum of the Philippines employees from Batanes to Jolon. We are happy to celebrate the observance of 2021 Mindanao Week of Peace by virtually welcoming everyone to our 2 new exhibitions, Luhul, Landap, Inaul, and Tenun, Fabrics of Strength and Protection among the Bangsamoro people, and of War and Peace, Lantaka and Bells in Search of Foundries in the Philippines, in our Western Southern Mindanao Regional Museum in Zamboanga City. The installation of the exhibitions was made possible amidst the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic, shifting from one restriction to higher quarantine status, and now the museum in Zamboanga City is finally opening its doors to the public this December. We commend the resilience of the curatorial team, who navigated the installation by remote, harnessing technology to bridge the gap caused by the many restrictions and face-to-face limitations. To everyone, thank you for gracing this virtual launch. We look forward to having you in our future cyber-based program and hopefully one-site education activities. Muchísimas gracias a todos.
Thank you so much, Sir Johnny. As we end this program, we would like to introduce to you the Pangalay dance of Mindanao. Pangalay style of the Philippines is an intangible cultural heritage. Pangalay also means temple of dance in Sanskrit. It antedates Christianity and Islam in the Philippines. Among Philippine indigenous dances, the Pangalay dance style has the richest movement vocabulary. It is the closest to a classical form. Pangalay is a living link to the traditional dance cultures of Asia, with the closest affinity to the Indian, Javanese, Thai, Burmese, and Cambodian styles of classical dancing. And to perform the Pangalay Hapatong, we have this victorious dance troupe from Zamboanga City who bagged the gold medal of European Association of Folklore Festival in the recently concluded World Championship of Folklore, or the World Folk 2021 in Bulgaria, besting 15 others participating countries in the world, presenting to you the Nawan Cultural Dance Troupe of Zamboanga Peninsula Polytechnic State University with their Pangalay Hapatong dance. Nawan Cultural Dance Group is the university's resident dance troupe. It was created under and established in 2005 under the direction of Dr. Maria Cristina G. Wee. The word Nawan is a Subanan term that translates as future. Subanan were the first inhabitants of Zamboanga as they were dubbed their settlement. Mr. Mark Anthony Q. Basilio, the group's artistic dance director, named the group in the year 2020. The group, which is composed of talented dancers, has earned many awards and accolades and has won numerous competitions not only in the region but also across the nation and abroad. And now, may we request everyone to please turn on your video for a photo opportunity. Group photos will be taken by page. So let's start at the count of three. So we have two pages. At the count of three, please give your best smile. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, let's turn to page 2. At the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Thank you so much. For those who missed the live activity, please visit our YouTube account for the replay. Also, please follow our Facebook page and Instagram accounts at National Museum of the Philippines and at National Museum Western Southern Mindanao, or search us through the hashtag National Museum PH to get more updates on our museum activities and other programs. Again, thank you very much for joining us today. Stay safe and muchísimas gracias a todos.